you who've been following the videos know that I've been looking for a place to test the electric turbo on the LTD. And before we settled on the airport in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, a good friend of mine hooked me up with these people called Grand Touring who do really high-end exotic car restorations. Now that's really an understatement for what these people do, and I'll clarify that in a bit. But they also have a facility that has an airstrip. Now it's a bit smaller than the Berkeley Springs one, but it was an airstrip. It was a place to test. All the tracks have been closed because of COVID. Anyway, when I said exotic cars, it's like I said, that's an understatement. Some of the cars that they work on they have a 50s Testarossa that they work on that's worth $50 million. I did not misspeak there, but I got to know the guy who owns the company, and again, it's called Grand Touring, and the guy who owns it is Chuck. Really awesome guy. In fact, everybody there is incredible. They're just the nicest people, and the cars they work on are so exotic that even I, as a car guy, haven't heard of a Bizzarini, and if you haven't, don't feel bad, because I didn't, and I had to get an education. So they did talk to me, and they said, hey, by the way, so your buddy Matt tells us that you shoot video for a living. You're a TV director. I was like, yeah. So would you mind shooting some stuff for us? I'm like, what, are you kidding me? I'd love to. So at the time, they're working on the prototype Isso Griffo, a Bizzarini. The low car on the totem pole that they wanted to feature was, depending on how you define low car, was either a Lancia or a Ferrari 512 BB. So you're talking about some serious stuff here. And we got together and we picked a date and we went out and we shot some stuff. I mean, these cars are just amazing. So let me just give you a little bit of a background on Bizzarini so you understand the connectivity between Bizzarini and Ferrari and why these cars are worth so much. So Bizzarini, Giotto Bizzarini, he was an engineer, he was a test driver, he was a designer, and he worked for Enzo Ferrari back in the day. So there was this thing called the Palace Revolt within Ferrari where a whole bunch of people got together and they were really being driven nuts by Enzo's wife, Laura. And that led to like this mass exodus. I don't know if they were fired or whatever, but Bizzarini was one of the people who went. And he went to Isso Rivolta. And then he started his own company, Bizzarini SPA, where he designed these really cool Ferrari-esque sports cars and race cars for that matter. Now, what's interesting about them is he was also a very capable engineer. In fact, he designed a V12 for Lamborghini, and Lamborghini thought it was too high strung. But these cars had a small block Chevy. And this was the car that Chuck over at Grand Touring really wanted to feature because, let's not mince words. This car is worth like $1.5 million. These are the most expensive cars I've ever shot. I've been around a lot of cars, and these were this is like top of the heap. So, we came over and we're, of course, really terrified. I didn't even want to touch these things. I actually ended up having to get into the Bizzarini and, with this COVID weight I've packed on, it was a bit like folding a bowling ball to try to get into the passenger seat to shoot the stuff with Harrison, one of the guys who works there. But I mentioned that, they do restoration, but restoration doesn't quite sum up what it is they do. What they really do is they do restoration using only the tools and technologies available at the time the cars were built. So no TIG welders, oxyacetylene torches, English wheels, that kind of stuff. So their main guy who does a lot of that stuff, his name is Brad. He's just incredibly talented, incredibly nice. Yeah, I just had a great time. And I'm hoping to go back and maybe we'll shoot some more really super cool cars and I'll get a chance to share them with you guys. I know that Chuck is always looking for people who can do these things. So if you are like a super, super talented, sheet metal guy or whatever, and you can work in this kind of esoteric mindset. I remember I even asked Brad, I said, I'm terrified of scratching one of these cars. Doesn't that worry you? He's like, I used to until I realized if I scratch it, I'm the one who has to fix it. He's like, that's a good point. So we went out to their facility there and we shot a bunch of stuff with these fantastic cars. I think the shots turned out really well. I think they're pretty awesome. And, here you go. Here's a few $1 million worth of cars. It's car porn. Enjoy. So hopefully we'll get a lot more of this kind of stuff on the channel as well as we continue to develop that particular relationship. There's a possibility I'll be doing some live streaming of some extremely high dollar no prep races. Don't want to throw out a number, but I will. How about $100,000 for a prize? That should be coming up on May 15th, I believe, if that happens. But it's, I'll let you guys know. I think we're going to do a test live stream on May 1st, and I'm going to stream it to Alex LTDLX. So there's a lot more coming up. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.